Hello, my friends. Welcome to the Black Diamond for Monday, the 24th of July. This is John Lavinia, and I am excited to be here with you, as I am each week, for another thrilling episode of one of our top calls in our series. And so this is where we get together each week and talk about some of the deeper topics of how we've gotten to the top, myself and my guest speakers, which I have from time to time on this call, where we get to talk about things that have worked for us to get us to the top and that we'd like to assist you with and see about helping you get to the top and doing it in record time. Before we get into our content for the night, I do want to announce that we are having our next Marketing Mastery event. If you've been on any of the calls as of late, you've heard me say this, but you're going to hear it every day, sometimes twice a day for the next couple of months as we lead up to Marketing Mastery 2017 in sunny Las Vegas, Nevada. And you can get early bird tickets right now, and I highly suggest you do. In fact, get a few, okay? Bring a couple of guests. Bring your friends, family, neighbors. Get some tickets in case they sell out for new people who could join you here and come with you and attend their first event. You can get these right now for less than $100 at digitalaltitude.co/MME. MME, as in Marketing Mastery Event. So that is a big deal. Okay, this is where the event is open up to everyone in Digital Altitude. You could be brand new. You could be here on a $1 trial, and you know that could be your first day. Could be the day before the event. That's all fine. Obviously, right here, right now, we're all more than one day before the event. We're months before the event. But do not wait until the last minute, which some people still do. I don't understand that, but go ahead and grab tickets now at digitalaltitude.co/MME. And also, I've heard that some of our top affiliates are having special greetings and gatherings for their teams. And so you definitely want to connect with your sponsor and let them know you're coming. And they'll also be able to give you links so you can register through them and participate in these special events that they may be hosting or that their team leaders may be hosting. Anyway, very important event. Get to that, and I will look forward to seeing all of you there live in person, some of you for the first time because you're brand new here. That being said, we do have lots of new members, and so I'm going to preface this call with my usual disclaimers. What you're going to hear in this conversation tonight is my opinion on stuff, how I work my business and how I run my life, and usually it's pretty street, you know, sometimes kind of in your face in some cases. And it's not really filtered so much. So the rules are take what you like and leave the rest, you know, kind of like a buffet. See how these ideas apply into your life, your business, what you're doing. And of course, if I say anything that offends you, you'll get over it. That's just how we roll. I like to tell it like it is. So here's what's coming up for me today. It has been a big, oh, by the way, the guest speaker. The guest speaker is me today. So I'd like to introduce our guest speaker, John Lavinia. Yay! Oh, thank you. Glad to be here. All right. So I'm always interested to hear what I'm going to say on these calls because I never pre-plan any of this. I don't like script. I don't run with a script. And what's that old saying? There's nothing worse than a salesman with a script except for a salesman without a script. Well, I've got nothing to sell you here tonight except some ideas that I think are going to edify you in the literal sense of the word. I know that word is misused a lot, especially in our industry. Edification actually means to build up through education and enlightenment. So I'm going to build you up through some enlightening ideas here tonight. And one of the ideas that are coming up for me is that throughout my career, throughout my life as a marketer and as a salesperson and as a brand builder and as a coach and mentor to others. Throughout that career, which at this point is rather vast, especially in comparison to other things that I've done, right? I thought for a long time that I was going to be a mechanic my whole life. And that was my professional training. It was in the mechanical fields. And yes, I was a mechanic, and I was a very good one. And I was an engineer on a tugboat fleet, and I worked on heavy trucks and equipment, and man, I knew a lot about machinery. And man, I knew how to get all bloodied up on my hands and my fingers and be freezing in the freezing cold rain and ice in New Jersey underneath a truck near the highway fixing broken stuff, and man, I was good at that. It sucked. I hated it. I made like 35 grand a year. Now, we're going back to the early 1990s, okay, late 80s, early 90s. Some of you were children at that point. Some of you weren't born yet, but it's just weird to say. It's weird for me to think that I am actually old enough to be parents for some of our students here. But it's actually it's a good thing, because now I know that I'm not just talking out my butt. I actually have some some experience worth sharing now. By the way, that's one of the reasons why I waited so long to have my first child, is because I figured I wanted to learn some stuff about life before I subjected a dependent to my best thinking. So anyway, I'm still learning. I haven't arrived yet, but I'm doing okay. Total tangent. Let me get back on point. I thought that I was going to be a mechanic my whole life, because it was one of the first gratifying things that I found that I could do with my time, with my brains, with my hands, right? I could do something that got a result. Now, growing up the way I did, in a rather desperate situation. I don't know how many of you come from poverty, but I grew up on the streets of New Jersey. I had virtually nothing, and troubling youth. And so this was like a big breakthrough, right? That I could be a productive member of society and, learn this trade and be gainfully employed. And wow, this is a big deal. And that was part of my evolution into adulthood. But it was only the first stop on the train, right? I continued to learn stuff about myself and how the mind works and how to communicate with other minds, right, that happen to be walking around in bodies just like I am, right, other humans. And I got to learn a bit more about having conversations and communicating with people in a way that would induce thought in people that they may not have thought before. Maybe they had some ideas about things they might want to experience in their life. And, because I was going somewhere in my life, we had something in common. We both had ambitions, goals, desires, and so we could have meaningful conversations. Now, this was not toward any specific end. This was not because I had some opportunity to sell them, okay, but just because I was studying and becoming better at communicating and how people communicate and how people make decisions and how the mind works and why my life didn't work for so many years and why I was able to make some progress and why I continue to make progress. And I wanted to know these things. With the mechanical training I have, perhaps that is the sort of a segue into, learning about how other things work too. I mean, you don't get to be the chief engineer on a tugboat fleet without knowing how the machinery works. Right? I was the authority on that stuff. I know that stuff. And likewise, I like to know why other things work. And what better thing could we know about than how the mind works and how people work and what motivates people, what causes them to make decisions? What causes me to make the decisions that I've made up to this point? Why did I decide to get into the mechanical trades? Why did I decide to then get out of that and get into business and entrepreneurship? Interesting questions, right? A lot of times people don't really think about this stuff because a lot of times people are just going through life doing what's expected of them by others. Others, yes, this is the life of the conformist, which a lot of people wouldn't verbally admit to, but to some degree we're all conforming to social norms, social mores, right? These are things that are accepted and agreed upon, and that's nice. That's civilization. That works, right? Thou shalt not kill. Very good, right? That's some good stuff. But these are universally agreed upon and accepted behaviors, right? I mean, the person who is not in agreement with a precept such as, it's not good to kill, they're going to end up life in prison or death row or whatever, and they're going to be a pariah of society, and that's not going to, their life is not going to be fruitful in meaningful ways and stuff, because we can all, I think, agree on basic things like that. But we're looking to go beyond just conformity to moral codes, okay? And so this is where I started to step off of conformity and step into some more inductive thinking. In other words, I started to consider, what do I really want? Whose life am I really living anyway? Now, this is a question that you can all ask yourselves, and I've asked it of myself at various times throughout my life. I ask myself again and again sometimes. In fact, I was in this conversation with myself earlier today because I've got some business projects that I can choose from right now. These are things that have nothing to do with Digital Altitude specifically, but in my own companies and my own personal brand, I've got some work to do. And I'm deciding on a couple of different directions I can take some things. Now, whose decision is that? Well, obviously it's mine. It's mine. And when it comes to what direction I wind up going in with some opportunities that are in front of me here, it's going to be my responsibility to decide what would provide the most value for the most people in the least amount of time. In fact, that's a phrase you might want to write down. What can I do that would provide the most value for the most number of people in the least amount of time? This typically will reveal not only the best use of your time in terms of fulfilling your purpose, okay, your purpose in life, your purpose in business, your purpose as a marketer, okay, but this will also reveal something that is probably going to be quite profitable for you. Now, I don't have a crystal ball, and I can't predict the future. Sometimes people want me to give them projections on, how much money and how much time and things like this. And certainly we can use hypotheticals when it comes to business models, like, for example, Digital Altitude. We've got a great track record. It's all very nice. Michael lays out some beautiful charts and such in the Aspire steps that you can go through. And these are based on his experience and the experience of others who have, like myself and others who have participated in this industry for some time, and looking at statistics and things. We can make educated guesses and estimates, but clearly you've got the ability to set your own path, and no one can tell you exactly what that path of those statistics are going to look like. By the way, all these little subtopics that I'm threading together here are going to come together. You're going to have an aha moment, I promise. Okay, so here's where we're going with this. So we've got a variety of different ways that we could approach this business, for example, this opportunity, which has befallen us. That doesn't sound very positive. This opportunity has befallen us like a plague. This opportunity which we clearly attracted into our life because we were dissatisfied with circumstances as they are. That's one thing I think we all have in common. None of us would be here just out of complacency and because we were all just rolling around in money in our living room and we were bored. So we were thinking, oh, let's go find, some business where we can go to, I don't know, an Apex conference or something. That sounds cool. I wonder if anybody sells something like that. No, that's not why we're here. Okay, we're here because we had some divine dissatisfaction in our lives. And so we were looking to do something about it. So right there, we reveal ourselves as nonconformists because the purpose of the herd is to keep you in the herd, which I've talked about before in these calls and other talks that I've done. The purpose of the herd is to keep you in the herd. This is the way of the conformist. But that's not you, at least not anymore, and at least not to this degree. So by degree, you've already left the herd. Just the virtue of the fact that you're on this call reveals that. Okay, so knowing that we can depart from the herd to a degree, okay, again, I'm not talking about, breaking social, moral codes and things like that. I'm assuming you're all moral and we've all got some ethics. Okay, that's good, right? There's lots of other less ethical things you could be doing with your time. So we're, so we're here for a reason. We're here with a purpose, and hopefully we've identified what that purpose is. Now, let's say that we've identified this program, this opportunity, this online business as a way to provide the most benefit to the most people in the least amount of time. Because after all, we don't have to do it all ourselves. We don't have to originate, the product line, the curriculum, the compensation plan, the accounting, the legal team, the online sales funnels, the video production, the web design, the copywriting. I could go on and on and on. There is so much that happens behind the scenes to make this machine run. You didn't have to do that, okay, thankfully, right? I'm thankful for that too, right? I can't man every post, Okay, nor do I want to. At one point I did want to. At one point I was a lone wolf. I had to do everything myself, and I got to stay really small and make very little money. But now we've got this leverage. You see, we're able to develop our strengths while managing our weaknesses with the strengths of others. This is a very good thing to do. And so here you find yourself in this business community, and you are a wild variable, a wild variable. So I'm going to give you a rhetorical question. Hopefully you get the right answer. As of late, we have heard from several top earners in this live call and webinar series. Like, for example, last week on this call, we heard about an Instagram strategy from Cassandra. A couple weeks back, we heard from Jason Stone, arguably the most influential Instagram marketer in the world, or at least one of them, right, who's crossed the $1 million mark in commissions just with his digital altitude business. Okay, so that's pretty strong, right? We've got people like Jesse Singh, who doesn't talk much, by the way. I'm going to see if I can get him out on one of these calls, maybe in 2018. We'll see if he's ready then. But Jesse, if you're listening, I'd love to share you with the rest of the group. But and he does speak on stage and stuff. You'll see him at the Marketing Mastery event. But you know, here's a guy who's great at SEO, search engine optimization, keyword research, article marketing. My goodness, the guy's awesome. He wasn't always, by the way. He was a mechanic too, or in the mechanical field. I don't know if he was directly a mechanic, but I know he had that same sort of background. On the mechanical note, we've got guys like Alfredo Delgado. I know for a fact he was a mechanic. He told me that, and you know, so maybe there's a pattern here. I don't know. You don't have to be a mechanic, by the way, to be successful in direct sales. You know, but here's a guy who's heavy into Facebook marketing. We also heard from, let's see here, we had Joel Strait last week on the Rise webinar talking about video marketing and content creation. Another guy who does that is Joshua Elder. You've heard from him here in this series. Recently, we heard from a newcomer, Sarah Gallo. We heard from her last Thursday on the Wake Up Call. She was filling in for our friend Eli Gonzalez, who usually hosts the Thursday Wake Up Call. She's also marketing on Instagram. She's made over $20,000 in the last 30 days without spending one penny on advertising. Now, here's the rhetorical question that I want to pose to everyone in the group. These people have several different factors that contribute to their success. One of those factors is their platform that they're using to market. Okay, so they've got a way to communicate with the public, a mechanism to communicate via advertising, marketing, content, something. Okay, so they've got a platform, a communication line based on some sort of technology, which, by the way, does not have to be high technology. It could be low tech as well. It could be like when I got my start in top-tier direct sales 15 years ago, we were putting flyers on cars and placing classified ads in local newspapers. Okay, so we're not talking high tech per se, although we've made progress since then. So we got lots of other stuff we can do. So they've got a platform, some communication via that they can run their mouth on. So that's one factor. They've got another factor, and that is they've got this opportunity, which in our case, we've got digital altitude, and we've got all these things that are done for us, meaning not just them, but you too. Okay, you've got these things done for you. So that's another factor, right? There's an offer there. There's something that people could exchange money for and participate in, right? So they've got an offer. They've got that whole thing. And then they've got other things which we can easily identify, which are little sub-factors of these components, right? Like we've got the offer, and within the offer is the product line. And within the product line, there are specific training pieces of the curriculum like Rise and Base, and of course there are conference events and all that. And within that offer is also the community, which includes calls like this and conversations that we have, events that we go to, like in October. So all those things exist, but they exist equally for all of them. What's the one thing that's different that these people bring to the table? What's another factor that they bring to the table? Another piece of the pie. It's themselves. So knowing this, okay, again, that's why I say this is rhetorical, because it's glaringly obvious. Like, what is different about Sarah Gallo's business from yours? Is it that she uses Instagram? Well, no, other people use Instagram too. Is it that she has the digital altitude opportunity and offer? No, lots of people got that too. Oh, it must be her. We could say the same thing about every person I just named. And we could say the same thing about you. You are the wild variable, the wild card in all of this. Now, in preparation for this conversation that we're having here tonight, I picked up one of my favorite books to inspire myself and remind myself of something that I even forget sometimes. And the title of that book is Integrity is Everything. You can find it on Amazon if you like. And in that book, the final chapter is You Are the Answer. You are the answer. And I was thinking about that statement, just the title of that chapter, and then I read the chapter and I got some great reminders for myself. And I was reminded that in any environment of opportunity, like what we've got here, that despite the fact that there are so many things that are already done for me, like the planets have aligned, and we've got the product is all handled, and the accounting is all handled, and oh look, we've even got all these beautiful communication channels that we can run on with Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, et cetera, et cetera. Still, there is one person who's got to show up and do it powerfully for any of this to be worth anything to that person or to the individuals they are intending to serve. Here's the trick, my friends. Here's where you come into the picture. You are the answer. You in action is how your answers are revealed to you. It does not come from listening to other people, including this guy, John Lavenia, who's running his mouth right now. It does not come from listening to me or somehow putting any of these people I just mentioned and many others on some sort of a pedestal. Your answers come when you're in action, and there is no replacement for you as that one unique piece of this equation, because all the other pieces are already here. It all comes down to the one big variable, and that is you, and what are you going to do with this opportunity, with this unique combination of factors. You know, in chemistry, and I'm not a chemist, and don't try this at home, children, don't try this at home, but you could take various ingredients and you can make a compound, and by changing one final ingredient, you can come up with completely different compounds. Like some are very safe and some are, I suppose, explosive or acidic, or, you know, they perform different functions, right? Just like carbon dioxide versus carbon monoxide, right? Same kind of atoms, different combinations, right? One is lethal and one is necessary for survival. So let's consider that then. We're talking about something that can be finely tuned. And that's something that we're talking about right now, is you being finely tuned. Finely tuned into serving a purpose and thereby fulfilling your intention, the reason you're here in the first place, and helping others fulfill their intentions by the fact that you showed up powerfully and were willing to do something unique. Yes, something unique in this marketing space, which no one else can do, but that is very on purpose for you and your unique expression of talent and whatever that method happens to be. So let's go back to the variety of methods real quick that you could engage in here. This is a conversation I had yesterday with someone in, I do a mastermind call Sunday nights for clients of mine in one of my companies. And again, completely outside of what we've got going on here with DA. But it's a question came up where somebody was talking about the fastest and easiest way to get to making 10 sales in whatever opportunity they're working with. And they were talking about people that they were attempting to coach or mentor, and how they were resistant to doing traditional like network marketing kind of approaches where they would make a list of 100 people and cross their fingers while they call their mom and see if mom's interested in buying their jungle juice this time because she said no last time. Okay, I get that they're disinterested in doing that. The only reason they would have to do that is if they didn't know anything about actual marketing, really impinging on the public and creating some demand. But so I said, well, they need to get into marketing. Oh, well, they don't want to spend any money on marketing. Oh, okay. Well, then they got to get into content creation. Well, they're shy and they don't want to, like do a video. Okay, so let me get this straight. So they don't want to talk to anybody they already know. So these are people that they've already marketed to just by the virtue of the fact that they showed up in the planet, in proximity at the same time. Okay, so they don't want to talk to those people. And they don't want to spend any money, of course, because they're going to cry poverty and, never mind that, businesses require capital, which they could get if they just put their mind to it and they had a reason to get it. And let's say they don't want to do anything that are like free methods, like social media and YouTube videos and Instagram and all this, because they're, they feel like they're not worthy or something, or they want to be a ghost online and have no presence. So, so let's see here. So they signed up to do marketing as a marketer. And the one thing that they're objecting to in all its forms and possibilities is marketing. And I'm sure they're going to gripe about how this is unfair and so hard, and only special people make it in marketing, and they can't do it, and here's all the reasons why they're a victim, right? Oh my goodness, I've heard this so much. What's the number one question we get in the home business / marketing world? How do I get leads? How do I get leads? You know what? That's one question that nobody here has, and thank goodness, right? I mean, just go through the training, go through the RISE program, and then go through the training steps that come after the 18 steps of the Aspire Business System, and go through Social Media Marketing University, which you have access to with your RISE product, and show up at an event like Marketing Mastery, or even better, Ascend, Peak, Apex, right? So we've got some great minds that meet there and give some really high-level information. Hang around with your sponsor, listen to calls or webinars like we do on Wednesday night. There is no shortage of ways to get leads. So that's a question that any thinking person in digital altitude never has to ask again. But still, these are all examples given to you by other people who have done the work. Is that your answer? No, it is not your answer. You are the answer. You choosing a method, and in your own unique way, in your own unique expression, executing, demonstrating what you've learned. You are the answer. Now, how are you going to do that? Well, it doesn't matter to me or to your sponsor or to Michael Force or to the marketplace. It doesn't matter how you do that. There are many different methods that you could employ. I can tell you that Jason Stone, to use him again as an example, he is heavy-duty Instagram. Jesse Singh, who I mentioned, he is heavy-duty article marketing, SEO. Those two are vastly different methods, but I just named two of the top earners in this company, and they have vastly different methods. Alfredo Delgado, Facebook advertising. Alex Zubarev, right, who you get to hear on these calls too from time to time. Solo advertising, okay, heavy duty into email marketing, all different methods. Which one is the best? Well, that's a question for you to answer. So again, I say you are the answer. What do you want to do? Now, if you're terrified of putting yourself out there on a video, well, that's fine. There's all these other things where you don't ever run a camera. Okay, that's fine. You could do that, and they work. My goodness, they work. I don't have this as a verifiable fact, but I do believe that Jason Stone, for the longest part of his participation here so far in Digital Altitude, did not even reveal himself. He was using a theme page on Instagram, the Millionaire Mentor. right? Well, who's that? Well, I don't know, but look at the Lamborghini, look at the palm tree, look at the coconut drinks and the beach, and So, okay, so that's a lifestyle bit. Now, I know Jason has also, increased his reach on Instagram now by doing the Jason Stone page, right? So now he's getting out there more. But even with the theme page, it still worked. Was it work? Yes, it was work, but it was inspired work, and here's where you come in, my friends. It's inspired work based on what you think you've got a natural proclivity for, a natural leaning or tendency and affinity for. And for some people, like Joshua Elder, it is YouTube. Man, that guy loves running his mouth in front of a camera. And for guys like Jason, it is posting pictures of Lamborghini. Okay, cool. And it all can work, but it's got to be inspired. It can't be forced. And so when you think about whatever methods you want to throw yourself at, and again, you're not going to do it all. It's not going to be, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that, I'm going to do that, and I'm going to have like 10,000 different things going all at once. And you know what? I can't even take action yet because I still need to learn about all these other methods, and I got to try this and try that, and going wider, 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 and never going deep, and in fact, never really putting yourself out there. When did I say your answers come? Your answers come when you're in action. When you're in action, that's when your answers come. And you'll find, oh my goodness, I got traction with this Facebook post. I've got one of the students I've recently had a chance to work with is a woman named Mel, and she is in the acting field as well. She is an actress, and in this case, she is very good at doing Facebook posts. And she had a Facebook Live or a Facebook video that wound up going viral or semi-viral. I don't know what the threshold is for viral. I guess that's a loose definition, but she's getting all this interaction now with her Facebook page. Now that's something she didn't have to force. That's something that she is naturally inclined to do. She is a performer, so she performed for her ever-growing list on this platform known as Facebook, which about 1 billion people are using. So that's cool, right? Now, is she also going to do article marketing? Probably not. I don't know, maybe she's into that too, but probably not, right? Go with your initial inclinations. And these are things that you're inspired to do, and you suspect that you will be able to in less time, have a more positive effect on more people. That's the original consideration that I asked you. If you wanted to write anything down, write that down. What thing could I do to have the most positive effect on the most people in the least amount of time? So now that's not only in your choice of opportunity, okay, which I can tell you you've chosen very nicely right here with Digital Altitude. That's not only in your choice of product line to align yourself with, you've chosen very nicely, okay, but that's also in your choice of method based on who you are. Yes, you, this wild variable, this thing that nobody else can duplicate or compete with. You see the magic in that? Nobody can compete with that. There are people, I can tell you right now, there are people who would happily buy from you your offer, which could be exactly the same as my offer, but will not buy from me. They would buy from you, and it comes down to some personal liking or leaning or prejudice or whatever, that now that they finally found you and you've put yourself out there into the marketplace, now they've seen the light, you see. Now you are their leader, whereas I could not be, and vice versa. You know, I've actually had this situation happen several times throughout my career, where I've had a business partner, and we were both working on a project, and he had made a pitch, he had made an offer, and to the list, and then later I made an offer to the list, and I had, you know, we had some commingled lists, you know, some of the same people on different lists and all this, and people got the offer from me after they had gotten it from him, and they didn't buy from him. They don't like that guy. You know, he's a rotten guy. Okay, fine. They said, but John, now that you now that you have told me about this, I can't wait to get started. This is so great. Okay. And we were business partners. I mean, they're paying the same people. But okay, I'm not going to argue with that. Different strokes and whatever. So I can't sell everybody, nor can he. And I'm sure it's gone the other way as well. It's like, oh, we don't like that rotten John Lavinia guy. But you, oh, you're awesome. Okay, great. So you see, when we talk about people as a variable, it's the biggest variable of all as a marketer. Obviously, that's easy to see when we look at the marketplace, right? Because I mean, how many different people are there? Well, there's over 7 billion of us, and they respond to different things, different offers, different styles, different personalities. But you are also a wild variable in that whole equation. So what are you going to do? Here's the question. And if you're just getting ready to start marketing, it's a question I want you to start asking yourself. And even before you are 100% ready, keep in mind all these decisions. These are decisions that you can change course, you can optimize, you can, let's say, all right, I'm going headlong into Twitter marketing or something. Oh, okay, fine. And then you do that for a couple of months, and you decide, this kind of sucks. I want to do something else, and I've gotten really interested in SEO lately. Okay, fine. Let's put SEO on the pile and phase out the Twitter thing if it's not bearing fruit. Okay, because it's uninspiring to you, or you just you're not liking that platform or whatever. And again, we can insert name of platform here. I've got no guidance for you on that. What I'm saying is that you need to guide yourself. Again, you are the answer to that. What do you want to do? So you can, of course, change course as plans prove fruitful or fruitless. You can change course. But the point is, you don't have to know everything in the world about Facebook to engage Facebook. And you know what? You can go right now into our training call replays archive up in your Digital Altitude members site, and you click on the resources there, and you'll find the training calls replays, and you can type any keyword, like for example Facebook, and you will get every video that pertains to Facebook marketing in all its different forms there. Now, do you have to study every single video 5 times, take notes, get ready to get ready, and all that before you execute? No, no, no. Because guess what? By the time you do that, Facebook will have changed and they will have moved the buttons, and now you got to do it a little bit different and whatever. Here's the thing that doesn't change. The thing that doesn't change is the fact that people buy from people, is that the fact that people every day are waking up to the reality that their methods are not getting them where they want to go. Their methods of sitting in a cubicle or turning a wrench, like I was doing for years, isn't getting me where I want to go. Can somebody please show me something better? And if that's you showing up in that person's life when the student is ready and the teacher appears and that teacher is you, by whatever methods, well, guess what? Now we get to do business. Okay, but that doesn't happen if you're not out there, if you're still getting ready. So I've got a saying that I adopted. I did not originate this, but man, oh man, I love it. Here's the saying: imperfect and done beats perfect and not done, always. Imperfect and done beats perfect and not done, always. Okay, those who sell books are those who publish. I remember hearing Robert Kiyosaki say that he's happy to be a best-selling author. He'd like to be a best-writing author. He doesn't believe he is. He's read lots of other books that were written way better than his, but he's a best-selling author. Okay, he publishes, he markets, he gets out there into the marketplace. I heard another author, Jack Canfield. I was on a conference call with Jack Canfield, and he was saying that, and again, as an author myself, I listen to guys who have sold lots of books, and here's a guy who sold, hundreds of millions of books or however many, with the Chicken Soup for the Soul franchise with him and his partner, Mark Victor Hansen. And so here they are selling storybooks to people that want to be inspired, and it's all very nice. He said, you can write your book, but if you're not going to market the book, well, just throw it in a dumpster. I mean, writing your book is like 10% of it. Marketing it, okay, getting it out there, okay. So that's, by definition, that's publishing. That's publishing and marketing, okay. So getting it out there. Same thing with you, with your offer, with your brand, with who you are, and the value that you can now put into the marketplace. You got to publish. Okay, is it going to be perfect? No. I was just reading, like I mentioned, I was just reading this chapter from this book that I wrote almost 10 years ago. My goodness, time flies. And I was thinking, you know what, I would have written that. I would have written that paragraph differently. You know, some of the grammar that I use is very conversational. I think I would have made it a little bit more, I don't know, a little bit more formal, maybe. Like I would have written it. Maybe I would have added a sentence here, a sentence there. My goodness, this book still wouldn't be published. Here we are 10 years later, right? Or 8, 9 years, whatever it's been, 2008 when I wrote it. So 9 years, okay? I would have still been sitting on the book. Same thing with music. I've been around the music industry, and there's a point where you got to just record the album and say, you know what, it's done. Could we have done a little bit different, maybe made the guitar a little different in that one spot? You know what, it's never perfect, but it is done, and it is published. And I can tell you there are rock stars who will say, you know what, we go back and we listen to that recording we did 20 years ago, and we don't even like it. But my goodness, we cannot play a show without people screaming for that song. How many times do you think the Rolling Stones have played Satisfaction? You think they're sick of that song? But my goodness, you go to a Rolling Stones concert. Are they still around? I think they are. You go to a Rolling Stones concert, they damn well better play Satisfaction. Do they like the song? I don't know. But my goodness, they sold some records. Was it recorded perfectly? No. You know the technology advances now, how that song would have sounded if they recorded it today? It's a piece of history. Am I making a point? The point is that the best time for you to take action is now. Now, if you're brand new hearing this, you're day one, you're going through your initial steps, you're meeting your coach for the first time, okay, so you're in the ramp-up process, you're not into the marketing process yet, okay? And it's a beautiful thing, by the way, that you get a couple of weeks to, hang out with coaches and, learn the language a bit before you try speaking it. That's a very nice advantage that you have here. So I'm not talking about throwing caution to the wind and, ignorantly, thrusting yourself into the marketplace with no understanding of anything. But what I am talking about is, okay, you're through the steps. You're satisfied with your position in this whole thing, your role. You've been through some of the training. You've consumed the RISE program, and now you're on to training steps, and you see, oh, here's solo advertising. Oh, that looks easy, because it is. And here's Clixley. Okay, great. Let's do a test campaign. Here's a couple $100. Let's see. Let's learn, right? And our answers, again, come when we're in action. Okay? So all the theory in the world is not going to be your answer. Your practical application of the theory is where your answer comes. And when you know, oh, this campaign does this with this lead capture page, and these emails that I wrote are getting opened by these many people, and these people are clicking on it. Oh, this email is no good. A lot of people don't like that email. Nobody clicks on that. Okay, so I can make some adjustments. You can't do that just swimming around in theory. You've actually got to get into the game. So again, I say, you are the answer, and your answers come when you're in action. Action, that's what does it. In fact, there was a whole book by that title, written by the late Tom Johnson. Title of the book is Action Does It. And it was one of very famous people in the show business attributed a lot of her success to insights she gained from that book. The name of that person is Oprah Winfrey. Action Does It. Okay, so we gotta do it. That's, by the way, that's another book if you can find a copy. Do It by Peter McWilliams. A great book. Do it. Okay. In fact, that was the Nike, or is the Nike slogan. Just do it. Okay. So have I made a point? The point is that you are the magic in all this. You are, you are, you are. And if you have any, and I think this is the punchline to all of this, if you have any self-doubt about that, if you're not walking around with a high sense of self-esteem and a high regard for yourself, well, my friends, that's where personal development comes in. And if that is the one thing that I'm able to bring here in this community and in all the communities that I serve in my life as a marketer, as a personality, as a human being walking around on the planet, let that be my message, is that you are the most important part of this whole thing. And if you were not needed, and important, there would be no opportunity here for you. So the most valuable thing you can do is build yourself up, to edify yourself, to enlighten yourself through education and through knowingness, experiential knowledge, because you actually take the ideas of others, you put them to use. Yes, you learn some stuff, you get the mentoring, you get the coaching, then you take the action, and then you become wise. Okay, people say knowledge is power. I say BS. Knowledge is not power. Applied knowledge is power. That's called wisdom, okay? And you only get wise by doing stuff with the knowledge. Then you're wise. Then you're powerful. And so again, I say the most important thing you can do is build yourself up, because you are so needed and wanted and valuable in this entire equation. That's why somebody like Jason or Sarah or Joshua or Cassandra or Glenn or whatever personality that you may or may not be inclined to put on a pedestal, that's why they get the results. More important than what you do is who is doing it. Who is doing it? And it damn well better be a powerful individual who has enough self-belief to go out into the marketplace, impinge on the space of others, and put their attention on a solution that can and will serve them if they but choose to participate. That is your job as a marketer. You can't do that being weak, timid, doubtful of yourself, and wondering, what should I do? You gotta publish. Okay? Powerful people get themselves out there. They have a voice, and it's worth listening to. And if you have any doubt about that, dig into books. Yes, study your RISE program and listen to our trainings. That's all very nice. Okay, learn the how-to, the nuts and bolts. Hooray, very nice. And that stuff is changing all the time. Go to Social Media Marketing University. They'll teach you the latest cutting-edge stuff. Hooray, great, fine. That's about 10% of it. The other 90% is you. Who's doing it? That's the big piece. And of course, that's the piece that a lot of people want to avoid, because that's the big piece, right? Oh, do I have to actually look at myself? Don't you have a magic button I can press? Hey, how many times should I email my list each week? Oh my goodness. That is such a secondary or tertiary issue. The real issue is who is communicating to this audience. That's the real issue. You are the answer. You are the answer. Don't forget it. When you take these ideas and you put them to use, you're going to find that in very short order, you have no competition, right? The masses of people out there right now looking for the magic easy button, because they're not special. I mean, they're not cause. You or some other person on a pedestal, they're special. They're the ones who I need to look to know what to do. But I can't know what to do myself, okay? Now, that sounds kind of silly to say that, but that's most people, even people who claim to be marketers, even people who claim to be entrepreneurs, always looking at what everybody else thinks and attempting to imitate. What did Ralph Waldo Emerson say? Envy is ignorance, imitation is suicide. Okay, there is a unique expression of talent that can come out of you right now, but you got to know that it's valuable. You got to know that you're worthy. You can't be walking around, second guessing yourself and feeling like, less than, or that your voice doesn't mean anything. My goodness, you can transform lives. And if there's one thing that I've done, and I haven't done it perfectly, and I haven't done it nearly to the extent that I can and should, and that is put myself out there and be a voice for personal growth, development, and entrepreneurship, and the power of an individual and what they can accomplish. I can tell you, just looking at statistics, that this whole movement, this whole idea of top-tier direct sales, which I have been instrumental to a degree in developing and continuing throughout the years, this has changed lives all over the world. My goodness, tens of thousands of people have crossed my path. What if I had not gone for it? What if I had been one of these timid creatures of the lagoon, never venturing out into the wide open sea? What a tragedy. The music dying within me. I mean, oh man. So I've got to look at this. Look, everything I'm saying here, I'm not telling you that I've arrived. I'm just telling you that this is something that I've cognited, something that I've reminded myself of. And again, I say that's why you go dig into books, even if you happen to write that book 9 years ago. You need reminders. Okay, so that's sort of like the trip that I'm on right now. It's like, what more can I do to impress upon others their own value? Well, let me go do that. And I hope in some way, just with this conversation, I've done that a little bit here in your life today. Because my goodness, if this was not for you, you wouldn't be here. You wouldn't be listening to this right now. You'd be watching kitten videos on YouTube. My goodness, there's a million ways for you to spend your time. But you're here, so I honor and respect that. And I want nothing more than to be the best servant that I can be in the capacity that I've been granted this microphone and this platform. So I hope you got some value out of this. And I hope if nothing else this week, you find something inspirational. Consume something that others who have come before you have prepared. Read a book like Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, or The Cash Flow Quadrant by Robert Kiyosaki, or my goodness, fill in the blank. Read the Bible, the Bhagavad Gita. There's been writings going on for thousands of years. Pick one. Pick one. Get inspired, and then go inspire others. Put it in, and then launch it out. Load your guns, and then pull the trigger. That's the way you market. Build yourself up, and then go build others up as well. And that is the irreplaceable variable that causes those top earners to be top earners. And you're next. You're next. Know that for yourself. No doubt. Move out with certainty into the marketplace and do whatever you have to do to augment that certainty in yourself, and you will affect lives. I promise you, you will have an effect. In fact, there's no way that you cannot. You're having an effect right now. Even if the effect is, oh my goodness, you're a bump on the log, you're not doing a damn thing with your life. Okay, then you are demonstrating how to be a bump on the log. You are having an effect. You're either part of the problem or part of the solution. So make a choice. Make a choice. Are you part of the solution? I think you are. Thank you. I'm going to go ahead and open it up for questions and comments. Now, I know that I did talk for 52 minutes straight. I thought this was going to be a brief one. Usually, whenever I think this is going to be a brief one, it's like, oh my goodness, I can go on for hours with this. But that's just how I roll, I guess. So here we go. We're going to go ahead into Q&A. Okay, my friends. So we're on a bit of a philosophical rant here tonight. If you would like to participate, you can do so by clicking *6 if you're on a phone or Skype, or by clicking your mute button, which is now the raise your hand button, on the free conference call app. Your microphone button should do. I do see we've got a bunch of people here, and we are going to go to our first caller. Oh, we had a first caller, and they've vanished. Okay, so I do see a lot of chats in the chat roll. Thank you guys for the acknowledgement. I really appreciate that. Wanda, Lance, Jaseri, Celia, Jeff, Ralph, Mandel Ray, thank you guys for the acknowledgement. I really appreciate that. So if you would like to come out and join the conversation, you're welcome to do that right now by clicking your raise the hand button, or whatever the button's called at this point. I don't know what the button looks like for attendees. I only know what it looks like for hosts, because I'm a host. And for me, it's just a mute and unmute button. But we do have a couple of people here that seem to raise their hand, and then it goes right back down again. So if you're raising your hand, please keep it raised so I can actually call you out. Unless we're having a technological problem here, I don't know what's happening if people appear and disappear. I do have someone in queue, so we are going to go to our first caller, and that person is Rick. Rick, how you doing? You're live on the air. Uh-oh, can't hear Rick. We may be having a tech problem, which we don't typically have. This is a very solid system that we're using. Rick, can you hear me? We do not have Rick. Okay, one more call for Rick. Rick, you're live on the air. Hello, Rick. No go on Rick. Sorry, buddy. Maybe you're double muted with your microphone, or not sure what's going on, but I cannot hear you. We're going to go to our next caller in queue, which is Captain Marvin, the Salty Sailor. How you doing, Captain?
Well, you're stepping on my toes today. It's a good deal. Some good stuff there.
Oh, well, thank you. I'm glad I can hear you. This is good. All right, so we know the conference bridge is working. What are your thoughts, Captain?
I've been over it and over it and over it. Then I get in to start to perform some of the stuff, and it's all changed. So it's very important to what you said. Just go ahead and jump in, because it's going to be different tomorrow.
Mm. Yeah, you're talking about as far as tech, like technology changes?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The process changes, how to post, and the rules change. It's different from day to day.
Right. Right. The interesting thing, let's say we were talking about a certain platform, like just, I guess, use Facebook as an example. So let's say Facebook changes something. Well, they don't change everything, right? It's still Facebook. There's still a billion people on it. There's still lots of the same things there. And you're able to adapt with that one change while not really missing a beat because you're in the game. So again, your answers come by you being in action. Right? Now, if we had to start all over from scratch, well, that's because you weren't in action. So when we choose a method,
and do it.
Right. So when we choose a method, we actually become proficient in a method. And I'll give you another example as it relates to technology. In my company, I have some technical tasks that I've taken upon myself. Not that I'm a techie, okay, but I've got a couple of things that I know how to do. It used to take me a long time to figure this stuff out. And now, if something like these specific technical things need to be done, I can do it practically in my sleep. I can do it really fast. Same thing with this whole conference bridge and podcast. My goodness, it took me a while to set all this up. We got dalivecall.com. We've got the podcast on SoundCloud, iTunes, Stitcher, Radio on Demand, Google Play. We got apps for iPad, iPhone, Android. All that stuff took a long time. Now, and I kind of boast about this, Marvin. I kind of boast about this. Now, when a wake-up call ends, okay, so let's say we're doing our wake-up call, and it's done, okay? Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Have a great day. Goodbye, okay? From the time I say that to the time that I actually post the podcast is about 45 seconds worth of work. 45 seconds. That's how fast I am now because I know it in my sleep. Now, recently, some platform things have changed. So I made one little adjustment, changed with the times, and I'm right back in business. But this is how we grow more efficient. And so I know I'm speaking to the choir. We've already discussed all this, but the point is, Marvin, you're a smart guy, you're a capable guy, and you're obviously a committed guy. My goodness, how many places have we already been together in the world, right? Dominican Republic, Hawaii, Las Vegas, right? Where else have we been? Orlando, right? So you keep showing up. So you're in action. That is beautiful. So thank you, Marvin. Thank you for being in my life because you and your wife are always a pleasure to visit with each event.
And you as well, John. Thanks very much for a great Black Diamond.
Oh, my pleasure. My pleasure. That's why I'm here. All right. Anybody else? Last call for participation, questions, comments. Here we go. We're going to go to our next caller now, who is Pamela. Hey, Pamela, you're live on the air.
Hi. My question is really simple. The Facebook Live female you talked about,
Mm-hmm.
what was her name? Because I didn't catch all of it.
The Facebook Live that I talked about as far as like a training on how to do Facebook Live?
Yes, sir.
Oh, well, we've had a couple of them, and the one that comes to mind is Chiara Francica, who I don't think I even mentioned on this call, but you could go into the resources in your Digital Altitude members site, click on the training calls, which are actually training webinars, really, because the calls are podcasts, but like this one, this is going to be a podcast as soon as we're done recording it. But the webinars, like on Wednesday night on the Rise, you can go and you can search those by keyword. So if you went into that archive and you just typed Facebook Live, you would get every video, every training webinar that applies to that keyword. So, and I know there's one by Chiara, and there's, oh my goodness, who else did Facebook Live?
And it's actually Pamela. That's my name.
Pamela. Oh, look at that.
No E.
Pamela. Thank you.
I get that a lot.
I'm enlightened. Thank you, Pamela.
Well, I think you were talking about Think and Grow Rich. I try to read that every day ever since I met Bob Proctor. He's like, look, you get a new nugget. You get a new nugget when you check it. Think and Grow Rich never let you down.
That's great. That's great. Yeah,
Thank you
Bob
so
Proctor.
much.
That's beautiful. Bob was one of my first mentors when I got on the path of entrepreneurship. So
I went to Toronto to meet him. He is definitely phenomenal. Changed like everything about how my mindset was. Just really great. Like farm girl, run around barefoot to like, no, I'm gonna, have a chauffeur. Yeah, it was great. It was
awesome.
good.
That's good stuff. He's still kicking. He's still doing it. That's awesome
Oh
stuff.
yeah, I know he had a birthday just recently. Like I think it was July, because we all got on a big call and we all say happy birthday and leave messages on Facebook, and we do like these group training. He calls them, what is it? It's like a we're in a group where he does like it's like viral training, but it's a membership that we have with Bob Proctor where he does the trainings like that. Oh, what is it that he calls that? When he does that little thing that I get those little emails and the training is like an hour and something.
I don't know.
Can I remember? Well, it's like this, like how you do a webinar. You join it, but like you're going back and forth and you're actually asking questions at the same time.
Oh, right.
And so he reaches like a lot of people. He said he was on a plane one day and that idea came to him. Like, how can I, like you just said, how can I reach more people, in the least amount of time and help them? So it was streaming. That's what it is. We're in the streaming club. That's what the word it is. It's streaming. And so he said it came to me on a plane. So I totally agree with you. When you ask the question, how can I, like, the Stranger's Secret from Earl Nightingale, same thing. He says you ask yourself every morning when you wake up an hour early. You say, how can I get this? And the universe will bring it. It will attract exactly what you need. You just got to say how. Not the why, just the how. So, yeah. Oh, I'm
Great
sorry.
stuff.
I only had that one question. That was it.
Oh, no, thank you, Pamela. Thank you. And somebody here, Chris, wrote in the chat here. Chris from Project Apex says Alfredo Delgado may have been the person I was referring to.
Oh, okay.
Right.
I will
Again,
check
you can find all that in the resources in the archive. So
yes, sir.
yeah, no problem, Pamela. I just said your name like 10 times, so now Pamela.
It's easy to remember.
All right.
Have a wonderful evening. Do not work too hard, right? Or at least
Oh
try
yeah,
not
right.
to.
Yeah, don't tell me that on a Monday. You should see my calendar on Mondays. Oh my goodness, we've got an avalanche of new members, and it is bell to bell around here, which is beautiful. I love it. Love it.
Well, I'm excited. I started my traffic coach on Monday, so I'm like, okay, I'm ready. My other coaches, Miss Charity and Mr. Isaac Sands, they have been phenomenal. Like, and they understood that my Army mindset was I needed everything to be step by step. And so everything that they broke down to me was step by step. And no matter how many questions I asked, they continued to break it down until I got it. So it has been really great. I really enjoy how the program's set up. So I'm looking forward to getting to the top. That's and I'll see you guys in Vegas too. I'm glad you reminded me because she had already told me about that. She said, hurry up and register so you can be in Vegas with us.
Oh,
so
absolutely.
I appreciate that too. So have a wonderful night. Thank you for taking my call.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Pamela. I will see you soon. And I will never call you Pamela ever again.
Well, I appreciate that too. My daughter always says, Mom, tell them Pamela this secret. They'll never get it wrong again. Well, yeah, I guess not. Well, have a good night. Namaste.
All right, Pamela. Namaste, and I will see you soon. And we're going to go to our next caller, who is from the 330 area code, although I do not know your name. Who am I speaking with?
This is Debbie Holt.
Hey, Debbie, where are you from?
I'm from Ohio,
Welcome,
Doylestown,
Debbie
Ohio.
in Ohio. You are live on the air.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I just started today. I'm still confused. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Yeah, you just started today. You're brand new.
Yes, I'm brand new, but I did, join you guys a few months back ago, a little less than it's a little, like about 8 or 9 months ago, something like that, and I decided to come back, and I'm wanting to do this.
Well, welcome home.
And I'm really lost, to be honest with you. I just hope I can get it.
Well, we're going to get you on Lost. Now, obviously, I can't do like a full tour, although we do have exactly that happening tomorrow. In fact, 23 hours and 56 minutes from now is going to be our base camp webinar right here on dalivecall.com. And that's where Kathy Flynn walks our new members through the entire back office and answers any questions you may have, so you can navigate your way around here inside the Aspire Business System and your Digital Altitude members site. So definitely join us again tomorrow evening at 10 p.m. Eastern U.S. time, and you'll be able to participate in that. Also, get with your coach. Obviously, Debbie, there's a lot to absorb.
I did talk to my coach. I was supposed to write him why, like who I am and why I did this and, how motivated I am. And I don't know how to write him on Skype.
Okay.
I don't know how to do it. I don't know if, I really am clueless. I am not a high-tech person on a computer at all. This is my first iPhone and my only way of getting on the internet. Actually, it was on my iPhone, but I got this year, and I'm still learning it. So I'm clueless on.
Great news. Great news is that Skype.com will teach you all about how to use their platform, and Apple.com will teach you all about how to use the iPhone. So you're in good shape.
Yeah.
From a technical standpoint, I wouldn't affirm that I'm totally lost and I can't and all that. So just watch the dialogue on that, because in no time at all you could be quite proficient with these mundane little technical things. The main thing, and I think the main topic that I covered for the last hour, was that who you are is way more important than what tech you use. So I think you'll do just fine if that's your choice, to do just fine. But definitely get into the coaching platform, go through the Aspire steps, even if you've already been through them, like back when you months ago weren't sure if you were going to do this.
It's so much different now than it was then. I can't get over how different everything is.
Oh, well, yeah, we've made progress, and millions in sales. So, there's progress goes on. We're still in phase 1, though, Debbie. You ain't seen nothing yet. Wait till you see some of the new stuff that's coming out. So, welcome home, and I guess you've got to see some of the alternatives that are out there, and you've made your choice. I think it's a good one. Welcome back.
Yeah, thank you. I think it is too.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Good. All right. So we are
that's
going.
Basically.
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say we are going to look forward to seeing you in Las Vegas in a couple of months.
Oh yeah, is that where you guys are going to be? Las Vegas?
Let me go ahead and put this into
I've never
chat.
been there.
Okay, well, it's not Vegas for the sake of Vegas. It's Vegas for the sake of a place that's easy for people to fly into with, decent food and not too expensive hotel rooms. So here we go. So it's http://digitalaltitude.co/MME. Just put the link in the chat roll. So if you click on that, you're on a phone, so you may not even be seeing the chat. Anyway, digitalaltitude.co/MME, and you can get all the details on that. Grab a ticket now, Debbie. In fact, grab 10. Grab 10. So I will look forward to seeing you there. And from Project Apex, is Chris a sponsor?
Pardon?
Do you know Chris from Project Apex?
No.
Okay, well, Chris is volunteering a link for you there. So you can get the link directly from your sponsor, and there's that. So anyway, we got to wrap up. Guys, this has been a great session. Oh, it's been great for me. Hopefully it was great for you as well. Debbie, thank you, and again, welcome back. We're going to go ahead and wrap up Q&A with that. And guys, I will look forward to hearing you on our wake-up call in the morning. And so in the meantime, have a great night, and I will look forward to all the great stuff and hearing you on these calls. My goodness, this is just the beginning, and this is your community. So take ownership of it, and you start taking ownership of it by taking inspired action and putting yourself into the marketplace. Like the late Jim Rohn said, if you want to increase your income, increase your value to the marketplace. That's what we're here to do. You guys are the most important part of that. So thank you for being here on this journey with me. Thank you all for your acknowledgement in the chat roll, and I will see you all real soon. Have a great night. Bye for now.